We've already brought you an extensive review of the new 4th generation BMW X5. The car is better in every possible way. This is a very popular model worldwide and also in India. The India spec car arrived in May this year, and we get the X5 in 3 variants. There's the xDrive 30D in Sport and xLine trims, and the petrol X5 xDrive 40i. The new X5 looks better proportioned overall, despite that large kidney grille. LED lighting elements and subtle use of chrome and plastics do work well too. The car is impeccably finished inside and out, and it has tons of features, but it's just how well it drives that truly stands out for me. You've got the option of 3-litre engines, both the diesel and the petrol. Just one trim on the petrol, but you got 2 trims on the diesel. The petrol gives you 340 bhp as its output. This is the diesel that I'm driving right now. 261 horses on this one. The engine is eager to perform and will never slack off. There's virtually no lag, and it's how the chassis and engine work together to give you a responsive, controlled and fun drive that truly impresses. The ride quality is excellent and the car just handles so well. I mean, you always know that in a segment, whatever the segment may be, the BMW is likely to be the sort of driver's car. The last X5 kind of did that too, but you had some really competent rivals that cropped up. Everything from the Range Rover VELAR to, of course, the Audi Q7 and even the last GLE. So not all of them were as dynamic, don't get me wrong, but they were a lot more dynamic than they used to be. And so the X5 didn't really stand out. Now with this new generation, boy does it stand out. It is just such fun to drive. This is out and out a driver's car, and it will be a shame how many of these will end up with their owners in the back seat. But that's the Indian market for you. Now the new X5 comes loaded with lots of technology, and like its sibling, the 7 Series, you now get that display key, the key which has the little LCD screen here, which gives you lots of functions, and some of it is very convenient to have. If you're within range of the car, it will tell you the status of the car in terms of whether all the doors and windows are locked or not, whether the sunroof is closed, and you can of course control some of that by actually operating it from here. It works kind of like an app would, and eventually things will move probably just to an app. But when you're next to the car and you want to maybe load things or just ease access for maybe elderly people, here's another nice little party trick. You can actually lower the car by simply activating the function on the screen here, and hopefully that should happen. There you go. The car starts to lower itself down. So this of course happens with the suspension setting, but you don't have to get into the car, you don't have to start the car. The key lets it happen right here from your hand, and that's pretty convenient. There's also a little button in the boot that lets you do the same thing, so that if you're loading a lot of heavy luggage or sort of cumbersome, bulky packages, again, from the boot itself, you can just lower the car so that you have ease of access for that cargo. Nice little function. And then, like I said, the key fob also gives you a whole lot of other things that you can do with it, including getting the air conditioning to start maybe 5-10 minutes before you step into the car. Since the car is locally assembled, there are a few colors and trims on offer. White, black or this blue are your only paint options, and there are 4 leather and plastic combination trims for the cabin. Now, as I told you from the global drive, it's a completely new experience being inside the cabin of the new generation of the X5. most of what we saw then has come to India, so that's good. You got the little crystally gear shift lever and start stop button, as well as the iDrive controller, so the little glass element with the lit X inside. That looks kind of cool. I didn't like it the first time I saw it. I thought it was too blingy, but it's kind of grown on me, I think, possibly because of the X7. The technology is very obvious as well, because you've got these little screens for the AC, the climate control, that is. A really big touch screen now, and thank God it's a touch screen. Remember, this is the new generation of the iDrive as well, and so it's got everything that you can think of in terms of connectivity. You've got Bluetooth, audio streaming, the maps, you've got of course Apple CarPlay as well. Takes a while to get to it though, because they really want you to use their own system. Because you also have the virtual assistant. You do get, hey BMW, can you show me maps?
Hello, what can I help you with?
Can you show me the map?
Map.
Stuff like that. So of course it's voice command led, but remember, the little refresher for you, it's not just about pressing the audio control button and just saying map, but it's also being able to just talk to it colloquially. It picks up from your conversation as long as you use the keyword, and you can change the name. You don't have to call it just BMW if you don't want to. Virtual cluster as well, that's got a little bit of customization, looks pretty neat. Really nice sharp displays. Head-up display is optional. It's only on the it's only standard, I should say, on the petrol version of the car. And this one is the xLine, the diesel. It does not have it. You do get the sunroof with the embedded little LED display pattern at night for the ambient lighting, so that's kind of nice. And gesture control, of course, you've got gesture control as well. I'm not going to do anything right now. I don't want the music to blast at me. But that's something that now we've seen. It's becoming more or less standard on most BMWs. Though, of course, only on BMWs that have a roof. The convertibles don't get it, because the camera that reads your gestures sits up here. The new X5 will certainly lift the experience for buyers, yes, even those at the back, where you can get optional touch screens for rear seat entertainment and also plug in your phones to charge. The focus on infotainment though is quite obvious. So, big screen, and it's a touch screen, thank God. It's got everything you can think of in terms of all your connectivity. There's Bluetooth audio streaming. There's, of course, Apple CarPlay as well. Getting to it is a bit of a pain in the menu, but once it's set up, every time you plug in your phone, it's going to give it to you. There's also 20 GB of storage that's inbuilt, so you can put in maps or, of course, your music too. And you can, of course, hook up to a lot of the music streaming services, etc. through your phone as well. Lots of functions as a result of which this car seems technologically superior to the last one, no doubt about it. And that's not where all of this ends. I mean, it's not just about the technology, it's also about comfort. This car is a lot more comfortable than the last one. And in the boot as well, you get a lot more flexibility now, because earlier when you had the little parcel tray that would cover up anything you had in the boot so nobody could look at it, well, that's now automated. So it slides out at the touch of a button. There are controls in the boot for that. You just need to go ahead and touch that. The whole thing slides out and covers it up. And then remember earlier when you wanted to put in large luggage, you had to kind of remove that physically, didn't know what to do with it, and you had to put it away, or in some cars, there's a little niche to store it, but typically you have to take it out and move it away. Now, really nice function. All you have to do is press the other button, and the whole thing neatly sort of slides, tucks itself in and then slides down and into the boot, into a little recess on its own. You don't have to take it out. It gives you a nice flat boot with a fair amount of height for any bulky luggage storage. So that's a really nice feature. The tailgate at the back is still split, and that's again nice for ease of loading, and also to be able to keep maybe the bottom section up if you want to just create a little bit of support while you're loading certain things. I already told you about the height adjustment. And the rear seat is also more roomy and more comfortable than the last cars. You've got the sunshades that you can pull up manually. So, of course, for chauffeur-driven people, things like that become important. Now, there's a unique advantage for BMW. It's happening in many segments right now because it is the youngest fleet. There's lots of new models coming in, lots of upgrades, lots of first-time models for India. And with the X5 as well, look at the competition set. Yes, you've got the VELAR, but otherwise everything else is pretty dated. We still haven't got the facelift on the Q7. That's just broken cover worldwide. It's not coming this year for sure. The GLE, well, no real reason why that car is getting so delayed. Of course, Mercedes is not being able to get its kits together in time, and which is why the car that should have arrived right now is not even arriving at the end of this year. It's only going to arrive at the beginning of next year. So no sort of solid competition to really take on the X5, frankly, at this point, and which is why we're not even bothering to get those cars for you at this point to try and do a comparison, because it would be an unfair one. Come next year and all these cars will be back with a bang, with a facelift expected on the VELAR too. It is the inordinate and inexplicable delay from Mercedes-Benz with its new SUVs coming to India, as well as a go slow from Audi too, that's going to truly benefit BMW, as the competition cars currently do seem rather dated. Once Big Brother X7 joins the party, BMW will also have its widest ever SUV portfolio in India, with the X1, X3, X4, X5, X6 and X7 flagship really offering many more options to buyers in our market.